This time, we'll convene the meeting for June 19th, 2019, of the Carver Conservation Commission. First order of business is appointments, discussions. Informal discussion of 98 Meadow Street pool installation, but that's going to be tabled, right?
Yep, that's continued.
Okay, next order, business, Shoestring Road violation. Any action on that?
Nobody's here? No. I sent certified letter, violation, they didn't get the green card back. So either that, maybe they're not around to pick it up, or
I think we need an enforcement team on that, too.
you probably should probably come look at it too.
Yeah. Well, we get the guys with the M16s.
All right, so in between the next meeting, maybe we'll go do a site visit, because you guys didn't see it, I saw it.
Right.
What'd you say?
We get the guys with the M16s.
But we won't do that.
Okay. All right. I guess our next order of business is Cranebrook Restaurant. Notice of intent for existing and future work. If you folks would come up, sign in and introduce yourself.
Here we go.
Okay. My name is Maria Marcalo. I'm actually the owner of Cranebrook Restaurant. Thank you.
Armando Pereira, Comprehensive Design Build Services. Working with them to on the permitting process on the building, and I'm also the designer. I'm out of New Bedford. Address is 227 Union Street, room 509. So I'd like permission to hand out these 11 by 17s of a site plan that I've gone out and done an existing conditions review of the property. So is it okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
No, don't inform us.
Did they submit an NOI?
Thank you very much.
This is then informal before the NOI.
Okay.
He's preparing
Yeah.
the NOI, but he just wanted to talk to us first.
Want to let us know what's going on. Oh, terrible idea.
It sounds a little formal. I'm sorry. I've been on these boards before.
That's
so-
all right.
Yeah.
We're not formal here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
are we? Oh,
This was the part I had to do. So now.
We cut our budget for ties, coats and ties.
You want to send those photos as well?
No, I think that's existing. You sure?
Okay, so I
I think a
also
lot
have
of it
some
is, yeah.
photos. Unfortunately, I have one set, so you're gonna have to probably pass around.
Okay.
I think I don't need a mic to speak, so I apologize if I'm getting away from that. But basically what we have is we've got the restaurant that's there. It's in existing conditions that we have there. It has the deck on the back. As we already know that there was a storage shed added on to the building. You can see it sticking out the back.
That was
So
it.
now, when you
Oh,
go
sure.
through these photos, you'll see the pavers that are there, that have been installed. You'll see the new cleaned up version of what was there for landscaping, so the whole building and the whole area is getting really beautified. So it's something that we need on when you have a project like this and bringing it back to life. So a couple of things that we're looking to do, and we're asking for permission now before we even apply 100% for the notice of intent, is we have up against the road, there's a gravel parking area. So one of the things that the owners would like to do is if we can take that and actually do an asphalt area. Makes sense. Not going to be tracking all the mud into the restaurant. The other thing too is we got to take into consideration what people are wearing for shoes. It's just going to help out the whole thing. It's a nice drop-off spot. And it will clean and open up that whole area, because right now we've got overgrowth in the front. It actually becomes a dangerous condition. Anybody coming around that corner could potentially not see somebody coming out. At night, you have the headlights during the day, and like down in the summertime. In the late evening, it's still light, so it makes it a little bit more of an issue. The other thing too that we're looking to do is you have a fence that's right in the front of the building, of the existing shed, I should say, between the gate and the gravel parking lot. That fence is getting to the point that it needs work. So that's something that we're looking to do. Like I said, what we have there is we have the landscaping island that's there. It's been cleaned up. It's a newer version of what was there. We have a patio that was there before. That hasn't been touched. The only additional thing, and this is something that we're gonna need a little bit of help with, because when we look at a pond and there isn't any streams going through it, you're gonna have stagnant water. There's a lot of lily pads there already, which kind of like covers up the water, so now we're getting to the point it's gonna be a mosquito breeding ground. So we would like to take in the vicinity in the back of putting a fountain that will move the water around. And I think it's great to keep that moving.
Yeah, there was one in,
It'll aerate it.
that situation before. There was a pump
So
that,
we'd like to-
aeration.
We'd like to revive that,
Yeah.
get that back, bring
Yeah.
that back.
It is, but that is it's a water course, actually. That water flows out of there and flows into the stream, the Crane Brook,
Okay.
and runs down, joins the Wayway River
I didn't
further
follow
down.
it, so I apologize.
Yeah.
You know, didn't put my canoe in there or anything like that, so. But pretty much that's what it is. I don't know if you've seen the photos.
I'm waiting.
He's hoarding them.
Um,
Tim's hogging them.
They're doing a great job bringing it back to life. There's a few steps that we have to take that might have been missed, but at this point, we're looking to correct it.
Okay.
Tim?
You pass those down?
Those are
Is
the,
that patio there already?
no, it was
So
gravel, it was
So
crushed
they-
stone.
So they added a patio.
He went, didn't
They put this-
Might have to have you
they
bring
added a
two
patio.
sets of photos there next time.
They wanted-
He's hogging them.
Well, I have a set that in case I need to, and I have a set for the owners, so
They're
let me do this.
they're on their way. Wait a second.
Third set entire
They're working their way down.
Yeah, but- Who's
Which
my-
one do you have?
No, my printer.
Now, does Tim
might-
have the autograph too?
I don't know. I don't know if it wants them back either.
Those on loan?
Because we're sharing a microphone. Something happened to the other one.
I think you have to sign it.
I don't think you realized.
Lord, I ate in here a million years ago.
Yeah, I could see it from the street.
So
This big.
It's tiny. Tiny.
we're here for discussion about this, right?
Yes, yep, yep.
First of all, the plans that were presented don't have any kind of indication of 65 feet, 100 feet, or 200 feet, since there is a brook. There is a river, Sampson's Brook, Crane Brook, whatever you want to call it. And it runs right adjacent to the
From the culvert to the left.
culvert, yes, which is right at the, I
Yeah.
guess it would be the south end of the building.
Yeah, West End.
So we don't know how far away that proposed paved area is from anything.
Right, and it, 200 feet from a river is what we have to look at.
Everything's already in it. Okay, no, but.
You know, you got all this stuff that's already done that wasn't supposed to be done to begin with.
I wrote a bunch of notes, and I don't know if now is the time to do it before an NOI is done. I'm thinking that it probably is the time to do it, and it's something that I just want to get out there.
Go ahead.
All right, and it's a little
Did you
bit,
see these?
well, it's an overall thing. Other than Dan, who's relatively new, the four of us on the board, Tim, Alan, Jim, and myself, have been doing this for over 2 years. And I think that anyone who's followed us knows that we're fairly consistent with our rulings. We take into consideration many things that are happening with the applicant's plans. And applicants that follow the rules present their cases, and if there is a different way to do something, we will ask them to look at it at their own cost. And we've done that with contractors, we've done that with private homeowners. We look at the plans before any work has been done, and we say, there might be a better way to do this that protects the wetlands. And that's what we have asked people to do. And there are cases now where people who are so familiar with the way that we rule on things that they don't even bother coming to us with something that they know we aren't going to pass. So, that being said, in addition, doing something without proper authority because of not knowing the rules is not acceptable, as far as I'm concerned.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
If we allow this, we open the door for everyone to use the same argument, and we lose credibility with those people that we've asked to make changes already. They have spent their money to make changes that we asked for. And if we allow something because someone didn't follow the rules, then those people have every right to be angry with us, and they have every right to come back for any future plans they like and say, you've set a precedent here. We all took an oath to uphold the bylaws that were voted on by the town residents, and the bylaws are very clear regarding the 65-foot no touch zone and the 100-foot buffer zone. Allowing someone to circumvent those bylaws because they made a mistake is a violation of the trust placed in us by the residents of Carver. And the fact that there is a new shed, there are impervious pavers, and now they want pavement, all within a protected area.
Even the landscaping, you were in there doing the landscaping, what they should not have done. I'm just throwing that in with it.
Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there as what my opinion is. We've had people eliminate garages from their home plans. We've had people change their property lines in order to move things out of a wetland area. We've had people change the complete orientation of their home so their driveway went out the other side to protect a wetland. All of those people did so on our request and on our recommendation. That all goes away if we allow something like this to move forward, in my opinion.
I second that. And again, beside these items, all this extra landscaping that was installed up and above should not have been done, not only without a permit,
I think that was.
not without notice of intent. This is all extra work that should not have ever been touched.
Mr. Chairman, I get
Some
a,
of that there
This
already?
drawing is totally incomplete. I mean, we have no topo on it, we have, you know, you're missing the 65, the 100, the 200 for the river. You're missing all kinds of stuff on here. This isn't, in no way is acceptable.
It's an inadequate plan.
no, fully understood. I mean, and I hear what you're saying as far as that goes. Just I have a quick question, and I hear you loud and clear when we talk about what is set up. I used to be on the zoning board of appeals in the town of Wareham, so I know exactly what you're talking about, the rules. But I have a question because this is a very unique situation. This is a building that I don't know how long it's been there, and it's, the existing building is way inside of what you're saying. So what do you do in the situation? So my question is this, through Mr. Chairman, is that on a situation that you're an existing building, and again, it's been there probably a good 100 years, it's a special circumstance. By right, nobody should be violating the law, and I agree to that. But on certain cases like this, where you are already inside of this buffer zone, and I'm not looking to, we're not looking to set a precedent, but we also, I think, have to look at it at a certain way, because we can't turn around and move a whole building.
We're not asking you to move a whole building.
So
And the building itself, I'm sorry, the building itself is pre-existing, non-conforming. I agree with that, but that's the building. Everything else you've added on them after, and that should have all been issued in an NOI.
That's right.
Oh, no,
to be clear,
Fully understood.
your explanation of the building being 100 years old or however old it is actually irrelevant to our concern. One of our main concerns is that there is a shed that's been built, poorly built, if I might say, with a pad poured inside of 100 days, let alone 100 years. So that is, there's no getting around whether that's within or without compliance.
Look at the block, that's all new block,
Yeah,
all new block.
so.
No, understood. I mean, like
Okay.
I said, I'm just wondering, because of the proximity, and I hear when you say you move the property line, and I fully agree. Again, nonconformity, we have to look at it and it becomes special cases sometimes, you know, so,
Yeah.
but that was it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alan.
You're absolutely correct, but just because it's already non-conforming does not mean we're gonna go build something behind it because everything else is all within this zone anyway. And that's what I think we're getting at here. This is what we did with another case, that this is all put the cart out in front of the horse. You've done this, and then now it's coming to us with how do we fix this problem? So Savory's correct. Do I want to see you tear the shed down? Of course not. But the other side of me says, but if we ignore it, then we're going to have people building a two-story garage at 5 feet off the wetlands and say, geez, I didn't read the bylaw, I really didn't know, I'm terribly sorry, you're not going to make me tear it down, are you? So it's not, and Sarah can relate to this wherever she is, Sarah knows, it's not this case, it's the next 5 that come behind this case, and that's where our problems start to come up.
Totally understood, but one of the things that I would like to mention, which kind of what the chairman spoke last time, is the need to educate, the folks around, just don't assume that folks know all the bylaws of a town. So I think by educating and going over what those bylaws are very much helpful for newcomers.
One issue with that, and according to my notes from last session, you had acknowledged to us that the shed itself was not in the original plans that you went for approval.
Right.
So whether
Without a permit
Well-
to begin with.
degrees or certifications or general knowledge aside, you acknowledged that was built without any permitting.
That was following the fact that it was brought to our attention. So when I'm here before you and you're saying you built a shed on the want premises and authorization, for which I said, if I look back, I actually didn't.
Okay, so
But I still stand.
may I ask you a question? Are you going to open your restaurant with no liquor license because you just didn't read the bylaw and know you had to have one?
All I'm just saying.
My argument is the town hall has been located exactly where it is. We have a planning department, a building department, and a conservation agent. They're very accessible. So I understand that you didn't understand the bylaw, but on the flip side of that coin, as a businesswoman, you're opening a restaurant with, I imagine, a sizable investment.
Precisely.
You'd kind of want to know everything you need to know.
Well, there's the bylaw is secondary to the state law in this particular situation.
Well, we're not asking her to be a conservation
But she said
agent.
she didn't know what the bylaw was for the town.
All I was
That's
saying that I
fine.
would have appreciated
The
if
state
someone
law.
had gone over those guidelines.
But this
Yes.
is state law.
It's when you come in to a town to do business with it, the onus is on you to inquire as to what applies to what you want to do. You walk up to that office and you say, I want to do thus and so, and they will tell you the rules applying it to. Apparently, you did not do this. You did not tell them what you wanted to do, and this is basically your fault. So we're going to try and help you what we can, as well as we can, but we're not going to injure the town of Carver otherwise.
There's no doubt that there's a lot of this that's grandfathered. Obviously, the patio that's hanging over the pond, that's been here for 100 years. I don't even have a big deal off the record for the asphalt they want to put in because it's sitting up against Tremont Street. So if we go and looking at 200-foot setbacks, Tremont Street's within that.
But that's
So
that's
there can be
pre-existing
some.
non-conforming.
Yes, but there can be some give and take. We're not saying we're going to make you tear it all down and start from scratch, but this needs to have a process, and this process needs to be followed so that the next people that come behind this process don't throw it in our face that we did this for Cranbrook. Because then we might as well disband the board and just say, everybody just do whatever you want.
And I appreciate the
But we'll
feedback.
work any way we can work to help you achieve. You have a big investment here. We don't want to see you lose that investment. Obviously, it's good for the town of Carver, so we're not trying to put you out of business, but this is the tightrope that we have to walk sometimes.
My
So we're
feel-
gonna need some topos, we're
Right.
gonna need some setbacks, we're gonna need some
Right.
drawings that conform to what we need to see, which is the BVW, the 65, the 100, and the 200 from the riverfront.
Ellen, go ahead.
I was just going to say two things. Number one, had you come before us beforehand with plans before anything had been done, we probably would have come up with alternative plans that would have been,
Yeah, would've worked.
Conducive.
that would have eliminated the issues that we're having now, and we would have asked you to do that.
And we did not do it so it was in the midst of doing a project that this came about because of that fence with the shed. There was a fence there with bushes and that was falling. So we said, okay, I mean, maybe we should.
Replacing a fence with a building is not the same thing. I'm sorry to say that.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm telling you that this
I'm
happened. I
telling you-
apologize, and there's,
I'm
I
telling
can't
you
go
that-
back, I cannot go back in time. It is what it is.
Calm down. We're trying to figure out a way that we can work with you and not injure the town. And
Right.
Mr.
that's the
Chairman.
whole thing.
The other thing is that the 100-foot buffer zone is a state law, which not only is in effect in Carver, but is also in effect in New Bedford.
Yes,
So
no,
as a
fully
designer
understood.
from New Bedford, you must be aware that there are conservation rules that are statewide.
Yes.
And in designing this the way you did, you had to know that you were within those, and that you had to get some kind of permission.
So I'm gonna address that. And at this point, I'd like to move on instead of we can keep beating this here. So, A, I am the licensed contractor on the job. It's my construction supervisor's license. B, I was out of the country. So when I came back, I was here for 1 week, and I get a 781 number calling me. I'm busy with people, and usually those are telemarketers. Then I listened, and then I did return the call. So at this point, we understand, I mean, and what you said is correct. If I was here and I had known that that was gonna happen, I would have raised a couple of flags. So now we're at the 11th hour, unfortunately, we want to correct this. And we understood that there's an issue. I'm here with the owner because we're here for discussion. We want to work with the town. The plan that was submitted is just basically a graphical representation of what is there and what we would like to do. Understood that we need a topo, we need to put in all those other issues. I'm not a site engineer, I'm a designer. So what you're asking for, I'm not gonna be able to provide. But those are the requirements, and that's what has to be fulfilled. And we understand that. So yes, we will be filing the notice of intent, but again, before we start submitting all that paperwork, we want to make sure that we've got everything straightened out.
So I have a question. I mean, are you telling me when you originally did this concept that none of this landscaping was in your concept? The
I never did
repaving
anything.
area wasn't in your concept?
No, I never did anything for the back. What we did, we provided the drawings so that we could do the veneer that's on around the perimeter of the building, and the build-out that's up against Tremont Street that we built out about 18 inches at 2 feet, and then also the front entrance canopy. That's all that my drawings showed at the time. So, nothing from that fence back. So what I've compiled is what is there, so that we could actually
All this
discuss.
landscaping in the back was there when you came back
Existing?
after a week's
There
vacation?
was landscaping back there.
Yeah, but not
I
like
can't
this.
remember how much, but there was landscaping back there.
Well, when we went
there
out,
was.
if I
I
remember
know,
right.
damn little.
Well, I can't answer that, because I focused on the building. I wasn't focusing on the site at all.
If I remember right, when we went out, I don't think there's any new landscaping. I mean, there's old stuff that looks like
Right.
was there before that hasn't been fixed up.
I didn't
It was
remember
kind of
seeing a pond there either.
overgrown and everything, right. So this is what he's showing us now, is what he's going to put on the notice of intent. See, he isn't saying that this is done yet. I know that's not done.
It was
I didn't
closed for
see
quite a
any-
while. It could have been
Right?
very
not
overgrown.
Already
done.
done.
No.
It was overgrown.
See the pictures, it's all
The shed
done.
is, but the landscapes.
Look at the picture.
I don't
Look
think
at the pictures,
landscape-
it's done.
It's mulched.
Yeah, it's been
I
done
don't
up very
remember it being
nice.
brand
It's all
new.
done.
No, this looks a lot
Oh,
different than
okay.
the site visit.
Well, I've got severe issues with this, I will say.
I'm with you.
I think we're probably going to have another site visit and just be with close
Once
notes.
the lake moves, I
Yeah,
don't have to go again.
we'll,
Been there, done that.
Okay.
I guess, and just to reiterate my point from before, aside from bylaws, aside from knowledge of design and what's appropriate, what's not, it's not that this shed was some type of prefab shed that just was forked in and set down to fill in a space for a dilapidated fence, as you say. There's a pour there that is inside of 6 months old, and there's no way it's older than that, and there's no way that various people who have worn the I'm in charge hat didn't know about.
I'm
And
sorry, I was out of the country when that happened.
So you're.
I
not guilty,
left
okay.
May 3rd. I didn't come back until May 20th. And then I only got the notification, like I said, when Brooke called.
That's fine. I
Okay, excuse me. Who actually built and supervised the building of the shed?
yeah.
The pouring of the
Right.
concrete?
Who? Then who?
Miss? You did. Okay. Now, did you not realize that you had to have building permits and so on filed for all this?
We have the permit over there for the construction,
For the remodel, not for the shed.
yeah, for the remodel.
Right, but not for the shed. That was new.
Okay.
We know it's not for the shed, soon as we get there, we.
Yeah.
Shed
So,
Okay.
All right.
But it's not, because the kitchen is, you need it as a restaurant. That's why I never knew that would affect on this, the water now, this, with everybody saying.
But at the same time,
That's why we did, because I know it's not been there, but I didn't even talk without permission.
well, we're going to have to do some working on them.
He didn't notice that?
So, we're willing to work closely with the board so we can resolve these issues and correct the issues.
Is this shed attached
No, it's
to
freestanding.
the building?
No, it's attached to the building.
Yeah, he nailed it to the building, but
No, there's an overlap.
Yeah.
When I went out there, there's an overlap that's approximately, you're gonna say almost like 3 feet. Like 2.5, but and when you look at it, it's built on top of, and the walls and the roofing, all that is all flashed together.
it's gotta go.
Okay.
yeah. So that's
And the building inspector never saw this backyard?
I can't answer that. Again, all the work,
building inspector, he go over there after
I say
he
the
had
first
all
thing is
this,
the issue.
So-
notice, you do a notice
after that, but
Bob,
without
go over there
the shed.
and, he says, looks fine to me.
What's that?
prior to
Building
this,
inspector went over there and told you it looks fine to him and there was no permit on file?
No, soon as I resolve the problem
anything.
With the
your
permit?
building.
It's fine with him.
Okay. This is going to take some time to
Yeah, it
clear the
really is
fog,
now.
so at this point, I don't think there's too much we can do today.
Don't
We're
occupy
going to
that
have
shed.
to, talk to the building inspector, perhaps have him come in, make a
Well,
statement.
when are they opening?
And
so what happens at this point, like I said, I've gotten back, we've gone out, we've done the existing conditions of that there. So we're compiling the drawings together for that shed so we can submit. Obviously, when we submit that, nothing's gonna happen until notice of intent has been issued, okay? So, to answer the question about the building inspector not noticing it, you've gotta remember that the permit, and obviously when he's there, he's looking at what was permitted. This was behind a wooden fence, and
didn't
the
see
thing
it.
is, it's 6, right? So when you walk into the building,
He didn't see
you
it.
walk in, you see the projection on the outside, you walk into the building, you go behind the bar, you check out the framing, you walk back out, you're not going behind the fence, so.
well,
I have-
that's one possible
Jim?
view, yes.
From my understanding, was they came for a building permit for the stone in the front of the
Yes,
building.
and the bump
some of
out
the stuff
and
in
the
front.
entrance.
So Bob gave him a permit for that. I think the misunderstanding was that you thought that she also thought it included the addition in the back. And so by the time it was found out, you know, the building department hadn't seen an application for the shed because there was a misunderstanding. So, because
No,
She
there was an
thought it was
assumption.
included.
There was an assumption, not a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Okay.
Okay.
It's, okay, so at this point, let's just continue this discussion.
When are you opening?
We're looking to do a soft opening in the upcoming week.
I don't
No,
think
without
that's going to
that
happen.
I mean.
What are you
should-
doing with this
but-
shed you built in? What's in that shed?
Nothing,
I
no.
have the Pepsi machine there, and I have the ice machine.
No, there shouldn't be anything in that shed.
And a little storage to put all the stuff in the kitchen.
They don't have a certificate of occupancy for that.
We're
For what,
working
the
on-
shed?
we
The
have
shed.
this- We
Now,
have.
They don't have a
soon as
permit.
everybody, this shed is already done. Because my wife told over here, we had the Pepsi and the ice machine inside there already.
Okay. But you will not be able to begin operation without a certificate of occupancy, right?
Right, we have the fire department and the building department going out tomorrow.
From the
Okay.
Board of Health.
Final inspection.
Is the Board of Health involved?
And the board, yes.
Okay.
That's
They're the
been
ones that
cleared.
actually-
Well,
issue the CO.
we'll ask them to give us copies of their reports, so that we can view them and see what we can make of them.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, if I may, I think what you're saying, though, is if those three departments go through and find that everything is in order, you're expecting to try to open this coming weekend. Is that what you're saying to me? Or
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, we would love to, just in terms of a soft opening.
That would be nice, but it may not be possible. We'll have to see their reports and evaluate them.
I mean, that's a projection. If all goes well, that would be what the projection is.
Yes, and as I said, we will have to see their reports and evaluate them. The agent will look at them, and I'll probably talk to her about it, and you may come out to take another look at things, so.
Well,
So meanwhile, though, they should continue to work on the notice of intent
Yes, definitely should.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
for, I mean, it would be an after the
only way
fact.
we can vote on
It
it.
would be an after the fact notice of intent for the
Right.
shed.
And the kitchen is already full with food to open.
That is not our fault, sir.
that's not our issue.
Unfortunately, you jumped the gun.
So a question for the board. Assuming that all the certificates get done through all the inspections and fine, you're correct. After those are done, then the building department still has to go through. The building's been closed for X amount of time, so you definitely need to do it to check all your egresses, your emergency lights, all of that. That's kind of like the last step. I'm available. Brooke has my mobile number. That's the best way to get a hold of me. If anybody in the commission needs to get a hold of me, we can set up a meeting to deal with what we need to. I live in Wareham, so I can come this way in the morning instead or late at night, to deal with whatever we need to. So I'm here to work. Again, I just go back to what we're saying. We're here to work with this. Let's get this to where we need to go. Understood. I can tell you, before I went, the goal was to have this open for Mother's Day, and obviously, between construction, disregard what's happening here, between construction and shipping delays on products and all that, there are delays that are occurring. So the quicker we can, it would be beneficial for the investment, but at the same time, whatever we need with the board, I can meet with you guys so we can get this. It's going to be easier for me to meet and be the intermediate, so let's get this resolved.
I understand, and I would look forward, I think we all would look forward to it being done as quickly as possible, but it has to be done right.
Mr.
Yeah, no,
Chairman-
fully understood. We got steps that we have to follow. I agree.
Mr. Chairman, does the Conservation Commission have to sign off on the certificate of occupancy?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's the planning board and the building inspector.
So we don't have to sign off?
No,
on it?
but what we do have to do is sign off on the
Yeah,
changes
I
that have been made in
understand
the
that.
plan.
Yeah, I understand that. I just want to see, so they can open,
In violation.
they can open,
They'd be in violation.
but they'll be in violation of the conservation, that's all. But they can open.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
I mean, that's not going to affect any conservation
I'm-
issues
I'm-
if they open
But
a
they
restaurant,
still have to file an NOI with everything.
which
Absolutely.
is what they're doing.
I need you to commit to go through all of the processes that you would have gone through if this was coming to us for the very first time and the shed wasn't there and all this other stuff you're trying to do wasn't
An
there.
engineered drawing.
However, I'm not in the business of putting anybody out of business. You got a huge investment there, I understand that. Thank you for coming back into Carver, thank you for opening the old Cranbrook restaurant, and I'm not in favor of making them delay their opening because there's a tiny shed that shouldn't be
That's exactly what I
there.
just said. I wanted to make sure that we wouldn't.
But they have to understand that if it doesn't work out that way, the shed's gonna go.
Okay.
You take it down, the pad comes out, and so forth and so on, and you do that at your own peril.
And again,
But I'm not
it's-
trying to make it so you can't open and run your business. That's not fair.
Enough, thanks. We will work on this, okay? And we'll talk to the building inspector. We'll probably come down to the site, check it, and so we'll be in touch with you shortly.
When the board is ready to go down, please notify me.
Yes.
I'll make sure that I'm available. I'll gladly be there for the walkthrough. And to address, step one is applying for a permit, because that's going to trigger us to file the notice of intent. And that's the whole thing. At that point, we will do everything that we have to from there on forward.
Okay, well, thanks.
When do you feel you'll have your NOI available and ready to go?
We're all busy, and I'm extremely busy. We're trying to get my drawings resolved so I can file for the permit. So I'm hoping within the next week I can get that filed into the building department, and then from there, then I'll start working on the process.
You're gonna file a permit for what?
The shed.
For the
We're gonna
shed?
make it legal. We're following the process.
Okay, you do realize that you can apply for a permit for the shed, but he can't issue it because it's within the wetlands.
Understood. So what I said is that we apply for the shed, that's the first step.
Yeah.
And we can't go any further until we do the notice of intent. That will kick it to the notice of intent.
That's
So
right.
going back to what the board is saying, 100%. We want to follow the proper procedure, and that is going to be the first step. So,
They get the certificate of occupancies, then
Yeah.
we can certainly deal with this
You
in the
know,
next 30 days.
I don't wanna,
That's right, let's leave it at
Hold that
that.
up. There's
Okay, we're going to
no reason
continue
for
the
that.
hearing. Oh, I could have a motion to that effect, please?
I'll make a motion that we continue the discussion, hearing on Cranebrook to our next meeting, which is
the next
July
meeting.
17th.
Okay.
Second.
when is it,
July
July
17th?
17th?
Seconded to continue to July
Well,
17th.
The only other alternative would have been the 3rd of July, which
Not gonna happen.
make too many.
No, we don't wanna do the 3rd of
why not
July.
the 10th?
This would be the only thing.
We could.
Have on the 3rd.
Why not the 10th?
That's the second week. We
Well,
usually
we
do
could
the
still
first and
do-
third.
well,
We
I
can
know,
do the
but
second.
if there's
If
a
it's
pressing
quiet.
issue, and, yeah, we didn't have one the
This
3rd.
would- Yeah,
We could have one the 10th, but we'll let you know if we decide to have a meeting the 10th, okay? And that's,
So the board is also aware of, obviously, when we're looking at doing what you've asked for topos and all that type of stuff, again, like myself, all these engineers are really
Yep.
busy out there, so want to take that into consideration, that we might come in, or we might request on our end that we need to go another meeting without attending.
Put them to the end of July.
We can go to the 10th.
We can go to the 24th.
Well, you said the 17th, it's in the middle of the month, it gives us all almost a month to see where we can get.
okay, so,
I can't be here.
We can go to the 24th.
put your issues in, cover them.
When do you wanna do it?
Can't put my vote in.
No, well, we,
All right.
sorry, I think we'll.
I mean, I tried to keep it the first
cover
and
your
third. and
concerns,
You know.
Well, we try to work with
Okay,
it.
so it's, we're continued until, at this time, we're continued until July 17th, subject to further notice.
Can we do that as a tentative continuance?
17th.
So it's a continuance, and
I
then we
mean-
can change it if we need to.
So
can
meanwhile, we're
change
gonna
the
have a
date.
site visit though, and with Armando and everything, after the building, about the building
Well,
issues.
that's all something we're gonna work on.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta
But
get
right
with
now,
Kevin. and
our
stuff
only
tomorrow.
scheduled thing now is to have another hearing on July 17th.
Can hang meeting here. Crank that.
So I have in the notes that Savory made a motion and Mr. Badger seconded it to continue this to
think-
July 17th, but there's been no vote. Are you
I
gonna
think
vote,
Tim
or-
seconded it, didn't he?
Right, okay, so that's the whole thing. Now, do we have a vote on that continue? It's been moved to continue to July 17th. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Okay.
What did you,
So
what
it's
did you wanna push it to?
4-1 for continuance.
What did you wanna push it to?
July
I
17th.
can't be here on the 17th.
Oh, no, no, that doesn't work.
Thank you.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
The motion's made, and it's
No, he can't be here on the 17th, come on.
okay.
I rescind my vote.
Excuse me,
Can't
no,
rescind
no,
the
wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's,
Tim, what is the problem with, I wasn't here for meetings. Everybody is not here
But-
for some meetings.
But he has a reason, he has an objection to be here. And he has a lot of.
I know he
he's
has-
done a lot of study on, I rescind my vote, not until we get,
Can't do that. I can make a
Well-
motion to reconsider that continuance.
well, anybody can make the motion.
Well, it needs a second.
I'll second.
I'll second.
So we
All
can do
right.
it the.
So now we can vote on reconsidering this so we can change the date to accommodate Savory.
We do it the
24th.
10th? We do it the 10th.
The 24th.
Need to vote
You're
on the
gonna be gone that
reconsideration
night.
first, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, we have a couple other things, you know, to put
10th
on.
or
I
the
don't know if you
24th?
want to just do this one. We could just
Well,
do
the
this one on the
24th would
10th.
give these people a little bit more time. We'll give them an extra week to get things
Okay.
done.
and it would
24th
be
works
okay
for
with
you?
Yes, 24th would be fine with
We
me.
need to vote on the reconsideration first, and then we can
Yes.
vote on this.
Okay. It was moved to reconsider the vote on the July 17th rescheduling.
Couple
And
months out.
so let's have all those in favor of moving to reconsider?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's 5-0, reconsider. Now,
Now you can make the motion, Savory.
I'll make the motion that we continue the discussion / hearing on Cranebrook Restaurant till Wednesday, July 24th, 2019.
That work for you? 24th works for you? I'm fine with it. I'll
7
second
o'clock?
that.
We want to do it at 7?
okay. So,
Conservation meeting at 7 o'clock with reference to the restaurant.
we need a motion to that effect?
We just had it.
I just did, and I,
And second?
Savory made it, and I
Okay.
seconded it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to reschedule this
To
for
July 24th.
July 24th. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that's passed. 5-0. There's the-
Thank you.
It's just,
Yeah, you have to move the 17th. No, because Savory can't be there. Move the 17th up to the 24th.
All right.
Didn't hear what you said, right? That's
Next
why I
item.
rescinded right away.
Okay. Nothing on Shoestring Road so far, right?
no, I sent out a certified letter.
Right.
Right, violation, and then I didn't get the green card back. So, you said you thought maybe we should issue an enforcement order.
Yeah.
Or I wanted you guys to go out and look at it too.
Okay,
Maybe take a better look at it.
Hey,
What are you doing
Brooke,
tomorrow?
hey, Brooke, we can hang meat in here now. You think it'd raise the temperature
I
a little?
know,
Jeez,
it was 74 before.
it's 54 now.
Right.
Tomorrow? Are you
Rick's the only one who brought a coat.
Okay, how about Friday?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought a coat.
Friday.
I'm gonna borrow it.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Ellen.
Go to Shoestring?
Man,
Yeah.
I'm frozen.
And then,
Yeah.
then.
You can hang meat in this
We can
place.
send out an enforcement order. And
Yeah.
he may not answer that either.
you could put that on notes.
If we get on the ground, and we see
Mr. Dempsey, you can hang meat.
Set it for 70.
just like that, just like that.
All right, here we go. Let's go, boom, boom.
Now, we're having discussion, in case you haven't noticed him, about
Oh, I'm sorry, I
an
didn't hear it.
enforcement order on Shoestring Road. Huh?
That's exactly the point.
Shoestring, zero, go back to zero.
Okay.
shoe-
Wise guy, wise guy.
Well, it's not. I didn't, I was turning the temperature up for you, and I don't know what you talked about with Shoestring Road. so-
Okay. Tentatively, Brooke has agreed that she could probably visit Shoestring Road on Friday of this week. Okay, so if she comes in and we meet her and go with her, we'll take a look at
You
it.
wanna go take a look at that? I mean, because we didn't get a response from the letter I sent.
Right.
What time?
10 o'clock?
Sounds good?
Enjoy.
9:45 here, Friday.
Coffee on me.
Okay, well,
It's gonna be raining.
I'm
It's
working.
gonna be raining. It's not gonna be working.
It's always raining.
Meeting with Brooke at the town.
bring your
I'm not
truck
sure I
down.
tell them that.
It's first day of summer.
Okay, so
It's all right, I can't work today, it's raining.
I'd like a motion that we will have a inspection of the Zero Shoestring Road activity on Friday. What's the date, the 20th?
21st.
21st. Okay, and at 10 o'clock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yeah.
There was no second on that, I'm
Wait a
sorry,
minute.
Mary.
There's no motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Who made the motion though?
Well,
I
actually, the
just-
chairman tried to, so I'll do the motion, so moved.
I'll
so-
second it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Somebody had to get something done, okay.
sorry.
We don't want anybody going to the AG.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line, it was made, seconded, and voted on. It's happening on Friday.
Let's go.
All right, so, our next
Jim's
item
still
seems
living
to
on
trust
Spain
minutes.
time, that's the
Skip the
trouble.
minutes, because we have a hearing to go. Okay. New hearing. Next Sun Energy dual-use solar off Rochester Road. Notice hereby given in accordance with Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:15 PM on Wednesday, June 19th, 2019, in Meeting Room 1 of the Carver Town Hall, to hear the notice of intent submitted by Next Sun Energy, LLC, for the proposed construction of a dual-use cranberry solar facility. The proposed dual-use solar project is within the active cranberry bogs and the areas used for the production of cranberries, and therefore, portions of the work are within resource area, bank, bordering land, subject to flooding, bordering vegetated wetland, and within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW and bank. The project will require variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw for the work within 65-foot buffer. The project is located off Rochester Road, Carver, Mass. Map 92, parcel 8, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, and 22, Carver, Mass. All interested parties are invited to attend.
Sotheby's?
Yeah.
Not bad, Jim.
It's a long one.
Love to share.
So,
There you go.
And
You want to send that down to the private meeting that's going on over there?
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem
We
with
saw
that.
this today, except for you, so.
Oh, everybody saw this today except for me because I didn't get to go.
Because you have to walk.
Brookie, you have another?
He's
No,
one of
you
the
don't
few of
get
us
me.
that have to work for a living.
Where do you think you are, the chairman?
Oh, wrong one.
Okay.
I got a Tremont Street one. You wanna look at that?
Yeah.
We can share. I'll move my coffee.
We'll get only two.
You and Alan can share. No, I have more, but they're
Bring them
enormous.
all up. Okay.
I have a full set with me too that we can flip through.
I figured Sarah would
You
just
have more and you
let
left
us-
them downstairs?
All right, so, and we have
Town planner?
Good evening.
Sarah Stern presenting.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. For the record, Sarah Stearns with Beals and Thomas, and with me is Adam Schumacher from Next Sun Energy. Good. So thank you for those of you who are able to make it to the site visit today. We're hearing these two projects with Next Sun tonight in reverse order of our site visit. So this is, the first project on the agenda was our second site visit today. So this is the Rochester Road dual-use cranberry solar project. Alan, I'm sorry you were unable to join us today.
Do you want to small one?
If you do, Alan, if you do want to visit the site, you can let one of us know, and we'd be happy to.
I do.
Okay,
I do.
so we can figure that out too, just so you can get a look at the area yourself. So as Mr. Chairman said, this is a project made up of multiple contiguous parcels off of Rochester Road, known as Zero Rear, and 60.
They're all zero.
Yeah, so they are, the best way to show it, it's kind of a funky layout. So I've brought the aerial photo. The red line demarcates the property boundaries that most of us saw today, that incorporate the bogs that are proposed to have solar placed on top of them. And, you know, just so everyone recalls, this is a dual-use project under the current SMART program. And it incentivizes agricultural solar projects. I've included with the notice of intent a copy of the description of that for you to flip through, as well as DEP's policy about the implication of, or implementation of dual-use projects within agricultural lands that happen to be jurisdictional wetlands, cranberry bogs. So that's a little bit of background information that we can kind of delve into as we start talking about the details of this type of project. But essentially, it's similar in nature to a ground-mounted solar project that we're all familiar with. However, the panels are raised significantly in space. The rows of panels are spaced significantly further apart to allow the continued cultivation of whatever crop is existing beneath it. And I think that this board is probably familiar a little bit with the concept after hearing a different type of dual-use project, although it wasn't on a cranberry bog, but same principle, same program, and you know, all of the components of that are very similar to what you've heard in the past. So this project is approximately 20 acres of cranberry bog.
What's the output?
It's 1 megawatt AC, which converts to about 3 megawatts DC. Is that correct?
Batteries?
Yes,
Into battery storage?
yes. I think
almost every solar project, ground-mounted solar project that is coming does incorporate storage, because it really just makes sense to be able to do that. So that is included in the plans on an inverter, concrete pad that will house all of the inverters, et cetera, as we've seen in other types of projects. So this notice is filed in compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act and the local wetlands bylaw. The work in the list of resources is entirely within the actively farmed bogs or existing adjacent disturbed areas. So this is a type of project that really avoids tree clearing and additional disturbance to land areas. Access will be through existing agricultural access roads. And the bottom line is a project like this will really help keep the farm in operation. As I mentioned today, there are a lot of criteria that needs to be met for a project like this to even get to this point, to come to fruition. So this is a site that is set back off of the road, has significant buffering from adjacent properties, and is very limited in terms of resource area impacts. We did list BVW, bank, and bordering land subject to flooding impacts as far as the Wetlands Protection Act and the bylaw goes, simply because the panels are in the resource areas. So it's a little bit different from what we're used to hearing. We have requested a variance for the buffer zone work, even though we're within the resource area. So it's a little bit funky in that regard as well. So the bordering land subject to flooding is simply a portion of the FEMA flood zone overlays one of the bogs on the Perry property. And again, no loss of flood storage by implementing the post for the solar array. Again, no tree clearing necessary for the installation of the array, no grading required, very limited stormwater impact, although we did complete a full existing and proposed stormwater report and analysis that was included with the notice. It will be peer reviewed by Fuss and O'Neill as part of the planning board review. So that will be looked at in detail as well through the adjacent process. Adam is here to kind of talk about details of how the array works. So if you want to kind of take it from there, you can do that.
Sure. I promised a video this morning of how the trackers work. I've got my just laptop here. I'm sure we could figure out how to do it up there, but it might take a long time. But, and I'll also just email this maybe to Brooke, and you can circulate it to folks. But I think that was one of the main questions. So this is this is like one of the blocks of panels that we're looking at on the plans, and then that metal pole in between is the drive line, and then this is that was one of the gears essentially, and so here you can see how every row is connected by that drive line, and there's just on one center location, and it all kind of turns around that one big gear.
So these ones move.
Sorry, I'm giving some.
So these are going to turn and follow the sun?
Yes, they go, oh, sorry, you didn't have that background. Yes, they articulate from east to west. Yep. And so that is probably enough to give you all a general idea.
Is that going to allow you to wet pick, or are you going to have to dry pick with this system?
We're planning to be able to do both. And we have all of the landowners are here, as well as
Concerned about all these canals.
as well as Ian Ward, who is our agricultural consultant for the project and has been helping us to think through all the details of the actual ongoing farming operations with the landowners. So We believe that it will be possible to wet harvest. It's going to take a little bit more effort than typical, but there's nothing that would prevent it from being a successful operation. And so, as I mentioned this morning, we believe that this single-axis tracker design is the most effective design, the best way to meet the requirements of the dual-use agricultural solar component of the SMART program, because the orientation of the rows allows for very easy access and ongoing operations, and it also is, we think, the best way to achieve the shading requirements of the program, which is that we cannot shade more than 50% of the sunlight that would otherwise reach the ground. And so we're really excited about being able to apply that technology in this case, and think there's multiple benefits to the project design, not only in terms of what it can do for the farmers, but also obviously in terms of the environmental benefits of adding more solar to the grid as well. And so I'm happy to talk through more details about the technology or any questions on the more technical side of the project. And maybe I'll just turn it back to Sarah, or unless there's anything else you wanted me to weigh in on.
Really for planning.
Yeah.
I have one question, just basically for my own education. When you say that it provides less than 50% shading,
Yep.
is that with the panels flat, or is that taking into consideration the rotation?
It takes into consideration the rotation, yep. And that's, the Department of Energy Resources built a model that for people to apply when they're applying for this dual-use adder, that takes into account everything, and it actually does it on an hourly basis throughout. There's a specific growing period.
Right,
that we
right.
use.
Just curiosity,
Yep,
really.
Yep.
Is that out in Rutland, Mass?
Which one?
Their study.
Oh, their pilot project. It's at their Deerfield campus.
Okay.
Yep, yep. And, one of the interesting things that's come out of that pilot project is that they demonstrated underneath the panels that it was an average of 15 degrees cooler than it was in areas that weren't shaded by solar panels. And for a number of reasons, that is actually can be beneficial to crops, and especially to cranberries, because if we're kind of getting into it a little bit this morning, cranberries are a wetland plant and evolved to be in an understory, with large canopy above them, and so they're actually not well suited for high temperatures and a lot of direct sunlight. So there's a lot of research that's gone into what we've submitted along with UMass Cranberry Experiment Station to MDAR to show that there may be some real benefits to yield associated with the shading that's produced by the panels.
Just a follow-up to the discussions that we had. By the way, thank you for earlier today with allowing me to pick your brain with the design ideas you had. And I assume there'll be follow-on studies in terms of yield, not only for information for us to know what's going on in our town, but also to benefit of best practices, information for the growers themselves so that they can take advantage, more growers can take advantage of this technology should it prove beneficial.
I would be very interested in finding out what the new yield would be.
Yeah.
But they're talking about maybe a 15% deduction, but I don't see
I
it.
see it going the other way.
Yeah, I see it going the other way too.
I'm cautiously optimistic that it will as well, and I think there's real science to back that up, and absolutely, we are required as part of the program to there's strict monitoring and reporting requirements on an annual basis, and we just because we've been doing a lot of work with the Cranberry Station so far, we've basically made available all of the projects we're doing to them for any additional research they may want to do, and we're very interested in it as well because we're involved for at least 20 years, and so any data that comes off of these projects initially is going to be very beneficial in the long run.
All right.
You been to planning?
Alan, you have questions about?
July 9th.
Just,
We're going to planning board July 9th. We have filed our site plan review special permit application. Their next hearing is July 9th, so we'll be starting then.
I don't have a problem with this at all.
well, I'd like to know if there's any abutters that have an issue with it.
No, yeah. Anybody
Over
here?
here.
It's, there's a couple in the back I don't see. Are you folks involved, the first couple on the second row there? Yes.
But the Tremont one.
Oh, okay, the Tremont Street project.
So there's
So-
nobody here to object.
Just for the commission's benefit, we collectively with the landowners for this project and our upcoming one have been meeting with the abutters proactively. As part of the newly enacted bylaw that was voted at our recent town meeting for dual-use projects, working with the abutters to waive setbacks for these type of projects, given the layout of the bogs and how it makes a lot of sense, and particularly on this site where there is such a dense vegetated buffer and topographic break. We have been working with the abutters for both projects already and have obtained those affidavits for the planning process, but just, so you know, it's all been going quite well.
I know it's a planning board thing, but
Yeah.
I think that the only thing that I ever see shooting this in the foot is gonna be the visibility
Right.
factor. And I've said this before, I have nothing but high regard for what you do, and I trust what you say, and I get concerned about the guy who moves in here from Indiana. And that's the only thing that's gonna shoot this kind of a project in the foot is that kind of bad faith.
Right.
Okay, well, that's not a
That's why-
conservation commission.
No, I agree, and
so,
but it
let's
is
just-
it is an issue.
Let's let it be handled by the people that handle it. That's enough.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, we have the right to make a move it back from the buffer zone, because it's within the wetlands. We can make a move it anywhere we want it to move, if we think it's too close to properties.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so, enough said.
But not because of the visibility issue. That's planning board's call.
I don't disagree with that.
All right, so let's go forward and see how we do it, planning board.
Because we don't have a DP file number.
Right.
Anyway,
So you
so,
want a continuance?
So we can't, you don't have a file number yet?
No,
no.
So a continuance?
it takes a while these days.
Right, we'll continue the,
To,
Whenever your next hearing is.
24th
24th?
with everybody else?
Is it the 24th or the 17th?
I think we
made
moved it.
24th, I
Oh, you
think.
made it for the
Yeah,
24th?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess that's fine.
Okay.
24th? Our next one is the 24th? We're not gonna have one in the middle?
that's
No,
correct.
we might as well not.
It's gonna be a fun night.
We have a couple of,
The other's July 3rd.
well, we have a couple of filings, and I had told them the 17th. It's too late now to do the 3rd, obviously. I could do the 17th for those, but then
No,
all we
they're not
would
gonna
have is
come 1 week
Cranebrook on the
apart.
24th.
So there's no meeting on the 3rd.
No.
No.
July 3rd, no.
Make a motion, we continue this,
So we might as well just make it 24th, right?
dual use solar off Rochester Road to July 24th?
Yep.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead. You-
I'll second it.
There we go.
And that way, say, you'll be here
Yeah.
for the other ones too, so
Yeah.
it just doesn't
Okay.
matter.
So it's been moved and seconded to continue to July 24th.
Thank you.
All those in favor, please say
Thank
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass unanimous.
Okay.
We need to close the hearing?
Rochester Road, hearing at
I don't think so.
30.
Oh, 'cause
It's continued.
Right, okay. All
We
right,
closed the hearing, we couldn't
Right,
have
that's
any
true.
input
You're
on the.
right.
On conservation.
we're still learning.
Adam, how, can you get that video to Brooke?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, yep,
She could possibly pass it on.
Yep.
yep, certainly.
I'd love to see it.
Sure.
We'll have popcorn night
Forgot that tonight. Yeah, I'll bring it next time.
and cocktails, Brooke said. I didn't say it, Brooke said it.
You know, Alan, he always used to say that.
Thank you, Brooke. I could always use one of those.
All right.
Pleases the board.
All right,
Now we're on to the next.
You got any
let's get to
drawings
the
for
next
that one?
show.
You want a big one or a little one?
Next people, oh, that's right, they're still sitting there. Damn,
I turned the board around.
just flip it.
Yeah,
I know you didn't have to get up.
I know.
You people out there ought to get these people for half price. Half price. That was a nervous giggle.
Hang on a minute.
Okay, so,
Does anybody want a
next
big
item
one?
is Next Sun Energy Dual Use Solar off of Tremont Street, notice of intent. Notice hereby given in accordance with Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw. The public hearing will be held at 7:30 PM on Wednesday, June 19th, 2019, in Meeting Room 1 of Carver Town Hall. To hear the notice of intent submitted by Next Sun Energy LLC for the proposed construction of a dual-use cranberry/solar facility. The proposed dual-use solar project is within the active cranberry bogs and the areas used for the production of cranberries, and therefore, portions of the work are within resource area. Bank, bordering land subject to flooding, restricted area bordering vegetated wetland, and within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW and bank. The project will require a variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw for the work within the 65-foot buffer. The project is located off Tremont Street, Carver, Mass., map 127, parcel 10, 12, and 21, Carver, Mass. All interested parties are invited to attend.
You get the little ones.
What do we got over here?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Sarah Stearns with Beals and Thomas and Adam
This is
Schumacher
mixing
with
down.
Next Sun Energy.
So it's all commercial up here.
So this is a very similar project to what we just went through. Without being redundant, it's a dual-use project proposed within active cranberry bogs, some of which are upland bogs, most of which are wetland bogs. They've been called out on the plans accordingly. The address for this project, again, it's made up of 3 contiguous parcels owned by separate owners. We have the Wainio site, which is behind Berry Guy's farm stand. The Weston property, which is our favorite 0, Tremont Street, set significantly far back off of Tremont. And then the Williams parcel, which is actually accessed from Wareham Street. But the area of proposed work does abut the rest of the project, so they are able to be connected into one contiguous project. This layout equates to approximately 60 acres of cranberry bogs amongst the 3 properties. It's spread out quite a bit. And that was something I didn't touch on the last hearing, that the nature of this type of array, the dual use, where there's so much space in between the rows, just by nature requires
Right, a lot of
greater
space.
acreage. So it is, quite a bit, you need quite a bit more land to do a project like this versus a conventional array that we're used to looking at. Again, without repeating everything we just went through, the idea is the same. We want to keep these farms in cultivation. This is a way that works for this site as well. It checks all the boxes in terms of meeting the criteria for space, interconnection. It's set back off the road significantly. It is partially within an industrial district, surrounded by extensive wetland resource areas or industry or other cranberry bogs. The resource areas noted for this project are very similar to the Rochester Road project, BBW, which is the bog, bank within the bog. Some portion of the project is located within mapped floodplain, and a small portion of the area along Tremont Street is within the 200-foot riverfront area from the Weweantic River across Tremont Street. So that's all. The work that we're proposing within riverfront area is landscape screening and in whatever grading that's required with that along Tremont Street. So it's all previously developed or previously disturbed. So we're just redeveloping and enhancing that area. Again, in terms of stormwater analysis, engineering-related analysis, all of that was submitted with the notice and will be peer-reviewed as part of the planning review as well by Fuss and O'Neill. So we'll work closely with them with any modifications to the plan and make sure that you get any updates through Brooke, certainly, that come through that process. I'll just point out on the map, which I neglected to do last time, exactly where we're proposing the work on the box, if you can see this from that far away. So this is Tremont Street here. This is what we're calling the western parcel, the Mark Weston parcel, and have multiple bogs on this piece. This is completely invisible from Tremont Street. We couldn't see it anywhere from where we're standing today, surrounded by the concrete operation over there. This is the Wayneo parcel directly behind Barry Guy's, and then the Williams parcel that I talked about that's accessed from Wareham Street. This is proposed on just a portion of this large parcel, so we've just hatched the area where the work is proposed. So that's really it. In terms of the layout, we're happy to answer any questions regarding how this is laid out. As I mentioned, the upland bogs are called out on the plan. Those that were constructed out of upland areas more recently. So that's really the only difference there.
Where's the battery storage going? Or is it gonna be separate units?
Yeah, it's located right here. Although, based on some recent feedback we've received from our engineers, I think we're going to end up essentially having a third of it located at each parcel, rather than having it all of it centrally located.
right here.
And so that will be an update to the plans that we'll bring to the next hearing.
Buildings, so it's right in this corner here on the Wayneo property, but as he
Just
said.
be one battery
well, no,
storage
they're gonna-
facility?
They're
Or
probably
they're
gonna switch it to three.
have multiples?
Right now, it's shown as one, Alan, but
One
we
per
may,
parcel.
it sounds like we're gonna break it up per parcel.
You
And
can do
they're-
that with the other one too, Rochester?
That one, no, that one's gonna stay
That's not
as it's
as big,
shown.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the issue that came up a little late in the process, unfortunately, is just that there's a lot of voltage drop when you do a run of that length. And so it's better to have the inverters and battery storage as close to the panels as we can make them to avoid that voltage drop. And so that's why we're proposing to change it to split it up that way.
You don't think, I'm sorry, you don't think you'll have to split Rochester in two?
Not at this time. We think we'll, because it's a shorter distance. At least the feedback we've gotten so far is that we're okay on that, but certainly, if that changes, we will alert you to that and include it as an update.
I'm good.
No, I was fine this morning.
This is the
Fine.
same
I was fine
continuance, I'm
before.
assuming?
You should see him, but because then you'll know.
Yeah, we have some abutters on this project, right? You folks would like to come up and introduce yourselves?
Sign in.
Yeah, sign in on the clipboard there by the microphone.
Hi, I'm Kara Dayhill. I have property at 318 Tremont Street, which is right in front of, on the road frontage of where the western portion is. And this is probably not really a conservation issue. I'm probably going to have to go to the planning board. But I just wanted to make it noted, after talking with my husband, of course, we want to see our Cranberry neighbors and friends prosper and do well, because they need this help. And we have a heliport there, though, and the reason that we built our heliport there was because we had the bogs behind us. And when you pick up out of the heliport, you fly out. Our flight path is right behind there. So my husband and my other pilot, they were looking it over, and they said, you know, if we ever have a problem, that's where we go. That's where we go down, or that's where we have to set down if they have a hard landing. And even in the past, you have had a hard landing out there and actually ended up on the bog. So his concern is that if he goes down there, he's going to go down in solar panels. And we don't want to make a, stop to the project, but I just would like to have it noted that it probably does affect my property as a heliport going forward. I probably would not sell it as a heliport because someone else would have that same issue. There's no other way to fly out of there.
Looking at the layout, where it is,
Yep.
there's a there's a lot of spaces in between the array.
Yeah, there are.
My question is,
If you're having an emergency situation,
No, I
yeah,
understand you could
can't
drop like
pick
a
where
rock,
you're going,
right?
yeah, yeah.
but if it was woods, you'd be dropping in the woods too, and I understand you built
Yeah,
it because
you
of the
don't want to drop it in
bogs.
the woods. You want to go in the soft bog.
Yeah, right,
Yeah, yeah.
I understand that.
You are absolutely correct,
Yeah,
Karen.
yeah,
This is-
you've flown,
this
so I
is-
know you know,
This
yeah.
is gonna be before planning, though.
Yeah, no, I will come in
It's-
for,
it's
I just
not
wanted,
a-
I know the chain, and I just wanted to come
Yeah.
and have that noted, that's
Yeah.
all. And of course, like I said, I want this to happen for them, but
And knowing,
that does affect it.
I may speak out of line here, but knowing Sarah and how she has been involved in projects with Borrego and so forth that has bent over backwards
Oh, yes.
to the
I know.
abutters, I'm willing to bet that you'll get more satisfaction out of just sitting down over a cup of coffee than you're gonna
Yeah.
get from an
Oh,
order
no,
of
but
conditions.
I just know how
I
the
really-
chain of command goes, and you have to note
You
that.
can believe, well,
yeah.
you know, because Sarah's
know.
come before you when you were on, on the planning board, so.
I understand, yeah.
I think
So
the.
you know where that integrity level sits.
When we looked at the plans, I think the bog right behind their house, Sarah, I don't think there's any panels on that one,
Yeah,
right?
There
so
isn't,
there
but-
aren't.
At least,
But when
It's
you're
in the-
taking
it's in
off,
the
you're
crash zone.
descending, and you're coming down, you don't just plop up and
Right.
plop down, even though you could, but you don't.
It's in the,
especially if you're
it's in
having
the
a
crash
problem.
zone.
That's,
Well, sorry to
Yeah,
put
they're
it that
right-
way.
They're right in the
Let's
front,
just have one person talk at once, please.
yeah, the two of them, yeah, and there's a pad right
So
there.
there's no,
Yep.
But it's not our.
nothing proposed until further.
No, but still, that's where, if you're in a helicopter, you start descending there, so that's where, if you're gonna have a problem, that's where it would be. Yeah.
Adam, do you think that the plans could be possibly modified to handle the situation a little bit better?
I think we're certainly happy to discuss with you all and look at where, I guess, the extent of where your planning zone starts and certainly don't want to interfere.
No, and I don't want to interfere with your operation either. I want this to happen for them. I just want it noted that it does affect it. If I were to sell my property, I probably couldn't sell it as a heliport. So,
Jim,
did you want to add anything?
I didn't do anything. What did I
you're
do?
talking while this person's talking, and I want that to stop from here on. Understood?
Use the hammer.
Go ahead, Tara.
No, actually, I'm done, but thank you for listening. Do you have
So
anything
hopefully, something can be done to maybe compromise on
Yeah, I
this.
just wanted it noted, that's all, because
right.
if I have to, that's what I built it for, I was there for 30 years, so, someone else would like to come in and have a helicopter there, it'd be good, but they probably wouldn't want it after that, that's all.
right.
Thank you.
And we'd like to see this project go ahead. It's not, we're not against it.
Right. Yeah,
Safety is, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
concerned.
Thank you.
Yep,
And
thank
just
you.
noted, that's all it is.
Thank you.
So, well, given the fact that these things are in the works, and that they haven't got a number still, that
Right, same,
we'll be looking at it, so
yep, same issue.
maybe there'll be some changes.
Any other abutters?
No other butters, right? No, all the rest are,
You know, those are people
Well,
involved
that's
in the project.
They're all owners.
Assume all of you like the idea.
none of them are against
I
it.
think they're all for it, pretty sure.
I'll make a motion that we continue the hearing on the dual-use solar on Tremont Street till Wednesday, July 27th,
Second.
Fourth.
24th.
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 Sorry.
I'll second
It
that.
was 17th.
I already did.
Been moved and seconded to continue the hearing till July 24th. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, it's
Is it-
educational. It was-
Before you take off, how big is this project in size?
This one is 10 megawatts DC
Wow,
and 2 megawatts AC.
cool.
Got
Thank you.
enough power there.
Thank you.
Back to the old business.
It's just the minutes, right?
Yeah. I guess that's it.
No, I read them online, so.
Okay. Would everybody please check their minutes from the June 5th meeting and see if they need any amendments.
They're awesome.
Already went through that.
I wrote them.
They're awesome.
Thank
I
you.
got an email that said that.
Yeah.
That was me.
I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
I'll second.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I make a motion to accept the minutes from the June 5th, 2019 meeting as written.
I will second.
I'm reviewing them.
Well, you can hold off on the vote, Mr. Chairman. You are the chairman.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the meetings, the minutes of June 5th, 2019 as written. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass unanimous. Okay,
That's it?
that's it. And so that's the end of our business for today.
Make a
We'll make a
motion to
motion.
adjourn.
I'll second that.
Move to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Any opposed? Pass unanimous.
I did.
Okay, seconded?
I did.